There was an incident where TikTok service was completely halted in the US on the scheduled exit date, but was then resumed when President-elect Trump extended the deadline. TikTok had refused to sell its US operations until the end and was facing service termination, with the executive order deadline being 1 day before President-elect Trump would take office. The service was urgently restored when President-elect Trump promised to reverse the exit order once he became president the next day. While this was certainly frustrating for regular users, the shock and sadness of TikTok influencers based in the United States was evident in widely shared viral videos. One such viral video conveyed the emotional message: "Nobody acknowledged me, but TikTok fans made me who I am today," in what was essentially a goodbye video. As a TikToker myself, I couldn't help but empathize and feel touched. This is my second trip to Latin America, but unlike my first trip, I boarded a plane from Korea, having decided to become an influencer from the start. When I arrived in Mexico, I initially identified as a YouTuber and worked hard for 3 months, but it didn't work out. Then, like the creator in that viral video, I first went viral on TikTok and gained nationwide fame in Guatemala. And after leaving Guatemala, I became known as the most famous Korean in El Salvador, becoming a rising TikTok star in Latin America and building my current social media foundation. In fact, TikTok played a huge role in Trump's election as well. So when TikTok faced suspension the day before Trump's inauguration, Trump, as president-elect, gave advance notice to TikTok to prevent service interruption. This is because TikTok already has 170 million users in the United States. With the US population at 330 million, this means over half of the US population uses TikTok. Among them, there are quite a number of creators who generate wealth and make their living solely through TikTok. These people suddenly became unemployed overnight. A significant portion of them are young people. This means that young Americans are already very familiar with and good at making money in the virtual world. It's not just American youth. When I do TikTok hosting with Latin American creator friends, you can see all the young men and women from Latin America are on TikTok. While the older generation might say they're trying to make easy money through TikTok without doing hard work, young people in Latin America already instinctively know that the world is moving toward digital and virtual realms. Looking beyond social media platforms, whether in the US or Latin America, young people are already spending time playing in the metaverse and this TikTok world or the virtual world. And those with the ability to monetize are basing their income in this metaverse. So this TikTok exit incident is not simply an incident. Rather, it proves once again that we are facing the limitations of Web 2 and the transition to Web 3 is inevitable. In other words, the limitations of centralized systems are becoming clear. First, the limitations of central systems are becoming more and more clear. Instability of centralized platforms like TikTok can disappear at any time due to government regulations or political decisions. Users don't own platform, and it has become apparent that policy changes in just one country can threaten the data and networks of hundreds of millions of people. And in Web 2 platforms, companies control user data, and government intervention can lead to platform shutdown. In contrast, Web 3 can provide freedom from censorship and data control through blockchain technology, offering decentralized social networks and data storage methods. TikTok creators lose their income the moment the platform disappears. In Web3, however, creators can generate continuous income using blockchain-based NFTs and token economies, regardless of platform continuation. Also, while creators work on platforms like YouTube or TikTok where the platform takes most of the revenue and creators only get a percentage, in the Web3 economy, creators take control of their earnings. As these problems accumulate, users will no longer trust centralized platforms and eventually will have to move to decentralized systems. Secondly, technological advancement enables decentralization. However, technological advancement, while centralized systems were once the only option, now with the development of blockchain and P2P network technology, we can create an environment that guarantees trust without centralization. This is the key point. Only internet was Web 1, focused on information sharing, uncensorable but limited interaction. And social media era is Web 2, platform-centered interaction, issues with censorship, monopoly, and data. Blockchain and smart contracts is Web 3 world, distributing trust, enabling economic activity without platforms. Cases like the TikTok exit clearly show the limitations of centralized internet. As Web3 technology develops, the transition to a more open and free internet is inevitable. Moreover, there's a paradigm shift happening in the digital economy. As the internet economy develops, the importance of digital assets, tokens, NFTs, digital currencies, etc. is growing, and existing systems struggle to accommodate this change. As the digital economy develops, existing centralized systems are losing their place, and Web3 methods are likely to become the new standard. For change in user awareness, finally, the user awareness is also changing. While there used to be less resistance to platform companies using user data, now many people are interested in privacy protection and data ownership. For example, Facebook's personal information leak, Cambridge Analytica, TikTok's data collection controversy, and US exit movement, whether it is true or not, and European GDPR implementation strengthen user data protection. Looking at these trends, people will prefer systems where they can control their own data, and Web3 provides solutions for this. Ultimately, we must ask who owns the future of the internet. The TikTok incident raises fundamental questions about who will own and control the internet's future. Web3 is leading the internet in a direction where users and communities, not corporations, own it, and this isn't just a choice but an inevitable change. In conclusion, Web3 is not a choice but an inevitable evolution. First, the limitations of centralized systems are becoming increasingly clear. Second, technological advancement has made Web3 possible. Third, the digital economy's paradigm is changing. Fourth, user awareness necessitates Web3. Events like the TikTok exit are just signals showing the instability of the current internet structure, and ultimately, we must move to a more free and open system. In other words, the TikTok exit incident reminds us that Web3 isn't just a trend but a future we need to prepare for. Are your platforms, data, and digital assets safe? In the future, metaverse GDP will exceed real-world GDP. What preparations are we making for the Web3 era where the metaverse arrives? Do you want more content like this? Firstly, just by watching my videos until the end, you help me a lot. That way, TikTok shows them to more people. Next, join my Telegram group, Fans de Julian, where I share my new videos first. Lastly, if you really want to support me, you can subscribe here on TikTok for just $10. Every little bit of support adds up and helps me keep creating content like this. Thanks so much. That's all for now, baby Julian.